Welcome to the New Leaf podcast for turning over a new leaf in financial advice, where today I am joined by the amazing Samantha Challis. And Samantha's going to talk about a few things. First of all, controlling the mindset.
I learnt probably about 3 years ago how to control my mindset. And I think that is crucial to anyone that wants to succeed in any aspect of their life.
We also cover the point of women in financial advice and how important that is. There's a lot of women in New Leaf as well.
Yep.
There's almost 50% women. I think it's something like 43%.
It's phenomenal.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that women are attracted to come into the New Leaf group? And also the most intriguing part, I think, is going from literally £30,000 income in 1 year and 3 years later having £300,000 income. That's quite marvellous. From 30,000 a year to 300,000 plus a year. What is it about you that loves this transition?
It's controlling that mind, isn't it? And it's controlling the outcomes that you want.
Hi, Sam.
Hi,
so
Mark.
We know each other really, really well. We've worked together for a number of years now. The thing that amazes me about you is how you've achieved this transition from literally a £30,000 income to nowadays 350, and your funds under management are massive now. Tell me about that and how that's happened.
Gradually, organically. I don't buy any leads whatsoever. So all my work is through client recommendation, which I'm really proud of. But my biggest success, I guess, would be embracing New Leaf and the support and the resources available to me through there. I learnt probably about 3 years ago how to control my mindset. And I think that is crucial to anyone that wants to succeed in any aspect of their life.
Wow. So when you say control my mindset, what does that actually mean?
It's taking a real good look at yourself, recognising what your flaws are. I was very good at self-sabotaging myself before coming into New Leaf. For a long time in my life, like as a child, I felt very insignificant. So it's looking at what those things in me and working on my confidence and just becoming a sponge to everyone around me and changing my mindset.
Okay. So what was it in particular about New Leaf that assisted you to do this journey and to change your success?
So when you join New Leaf, it's you can be invested as much as you want to be. There's a whole heap of sort of training courses that you can do, and it's not something that is forced upon you. You choose to engage with it or you don't. And for a long time, I wanted to be as present as I possibly could be in anything that I did. So I went on those courses. Two fundamental. It's the same course, but the blueprint courses just absolutely changed my perception, my mentality. And it allowed me to let go of something that I hadn't been able to let go previously. And that was that self-sabotaging attitude, I suppose. And once I let go of that and I realised whatever's happened in my past, I forget and I just move on from, the confidence that I've got from then to now is just something I can't describe.
That's amazing. And the Blueprint event is something I run for people in the company. What was it particularly about the Blueprint event that made that change happen then? Because you're saying that you went from self-sabotage to being completely confident almost overnight by the sounds of it.
It's again, if you're going to put yourself through something, you have to acknowledge that there's something in you that you probably need to change. So The first thing that absolutely was a flip moment is when you pulled me up and you said you don't know your numbers. And I was just like, I don't know my numbers. So I didn't.
You need to know your numbers,
You
don't you?
absolutely did. So you and I had done some work, and I worked out that what I needed to do is I needed to talk to 4 people a week to become successful. Okay. That doesn't mean 4 first appointments. That doesn't mean 4 second meetings. That means I have to talk to 4 people within that week to be able to build that momentum. And that's what I did. Simple. Just talk to 4 people each week in, week out. And then that grows your first and second. And that's how it kind of know your numbers.
Do you think coming out of you were in a business where you were a registered individual in that business, and then you came out of that business and had your own name above the door, do you think that changed any momentum for you as well?
I think being in that previous business, it did change me for sure, because I was an employee of a bank that I would never have left. If they hadn't made me redundant, I would still be there today.
Okay.
You would have cut me in half and I would have said the bank's name through me.
Okay.
And when I joined that individual, fundamentally, I'm a loyal creature. So I would have stayed loyal to that person had he'd given me the same respect back.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. And that, when I got my own AR, because I had to be quite patient to get that, I was like, nothing's going to hold me back now. And that's exactly the mentality that I had. But you can't be looking with one eye somewhere else. You have to be, I'm doing this, it's going to be successful, and don't look back.
And sometimes you need that bit of luck, because you say you would never have left the bank if you hadn't been made redundant.
No.
So really that sort of negative experience
Yep.
was really lucky for you.
Yep.
And what are your goals now? What do you want to achieve?
So that's something I've thought about for quite a long time over the last, I'd say, 6 months. And when I think about financial services, I feel like it's a privilege to do what I do. I love doing what I do. So what I would like to do is obviously continue to grow my business, but I would like to actually be able to give something back to the industry. And I think probably developing new culture, young advisors would be something that I'd really get a buzz from. So whilst growing the business, I've got other avenues that will happen, this year, because other people are going to come into the business, but I would really like to focus on getting new people into the industry as well.
That's amazing. What's the driver?
Because I feel I've got so much to give a new advisor or new young people coming into the industry. And it's something, I left school with 0 qualifications, like 0. So I'm living proof that the industry can work for anybody. You don't have to be clever. You don't have to be smart. You can just, if you're working hard and you've got the right ethics, it can deliver success. And I'd like to be able to give that back.
You're definitely a person of complete transition, aren't you? Because
100%.
You've come from, you say, 0 school qualifications to being chartered.
Yep.
A chartered financial planner, from 30,000 a year to 300,000 plus a year. What is it about you that loves this transition?
I think it's controlling that mind, isn't it? And it's controlling the outcomes that you want. So I'm a firm believer in good karma. So if I can help, I will help. And I fundamentally believe that for the longest part of my life, I've tried to be a good person above everything else. But actually, it's when you unlock that mindset and you know that there's no limitations, or the only limitations you have are the ones that you put on yourself, it's so powerful. It's so powerful.
And how do you work on your mindset on a daily basis? Because life's so negative. There's so much bad press. There's so many bad things in the news. How do you get up in the morning every day and feel positive and motivated?
For me now, it's not something I think about. It's just a conscious thing that I've built up over time. But it is, if something bad happens or something happens that's not in your control, I believe there's something that you're supposed to learn within that lesson. You learn it, you move on, and you thank the lesson that you've learned. And that's it. So even if something bad does happen, I kind of try to think about what I'm meant to learn through that process.
Okay. So it's really interesting that you want to bring new people into the industry, because that aligns really well with New Leaf Distribution. And our goal, of course, to be the place for new people and to develop their skill set to competent advisor status and beyond, to chartered like your good self. Why is that driving you?
I think, again, it's that good karma approach and being able to give something back. Actually, it's quite selfish because I get such a buzz from it. So it is quite selfish.
What, developing people?
Or just, being the good person, doing a good deed, whatever it may be. So I get a real sense of satisfaction from that. So a little bit it is selfish, but it does give me a real core grounding in terms of, I'm making a difference. And that really is important to me.
And I know you're bringing your husband into the business. Tell us
Yes.
about Kevin and him coming into your business, and also your retail outlet that you bought, all of these things you're doing. Tell us about those.
So eventually, actually more than eventually, sort of in the very near future, Kevin will come into the business. He's fully qualified now, and I'm really proud of that. I'm in this industry, I think you have to learn to be competitive, but not competitive with another advisor. You have to be competitive with yourself, because I think that actually there's enough business in financial services to go around. There's enough clients to go around, but you do need to learn to be competitive with yourself. but Kevin is the person I'm most competitive with.
You are. I noticed that.
So
Why? Why is that?
So I say that, but his business acumen is something that I've never experienced before. So he will definitely propel the business into a different league. And if there's a leaderboard on there, we're going to be pushing each other.
Are you going to give him leads, or are you not going to give him leads?
Depends how well he does.
How many clients have you got?
I have 168.
And out of those 168, how much, what's the funds under management of all of that?
So probably about 35 million now, I think,
Amazing.
something like that.
Amazing. So before you go to work, the wonderful thing about our job is before you go to work, I know you've got to look after them, I know you've got to do your annual reviews, but before you get up in the morning, how much money is coming in each year before you go to work?
Probably around 275, 300,000.
So before you start work, you've got nearly £300,000 coming through the door, and then you start work.
It's honestly, it's crazy, isn't it? And it's never a position that from that sort of girl that left school with nothing would ever have dreamt that she would have had.
Yes.
But I'm super generous with my money. Yep. I love being able to help people. I love being able to give back to people. So it's not wasted on me. I do try and help.
Do you know what? This seems to be a theme with successful people, that they're real givers. There's a book, isn't there, called Go Giver. And I think it's a great book. And it's, it's a go-getter mentality, but suddenly I'm sitting in front of a lady who is so professional and you're a go-giver. What do you think drives that in you?
It's one of those things that when you, so again, sort of not harping on about what happened, I didn't have a great childhood. Okay. And there were certainly things in there that, that should never have happened to a child. And for me,
sorry to hear that.
Oh, honestly, I'm good. I'm actually grateful that it happened because it makes me stand here as the person I am today. But for that, I really do want to, make sure it's in my DNA now that I try to leave people in a better position for having known me than not known me. So, and I have that with all my clients as well. So for me, financial services isn't about what pension my client has. It's about how I make them feel. As soon as they come into my office, they are loved, respected, cherished, nurtured, all those things. So for me, being able to do that for anybody, that is my mantra. Do I leave people in a better place for knowing me than not knowing me?
So you're really serving people, aren't you?
I think so. I'd like to think so.
Yeah. I'd like to get back to your mindset thing, because that, people think it's a lifetime of change, but it isn't, is it? It's a click.
It is a click.
Sometimes it's just like,
and it's something
bang.
You said to me.
Oh, really? Go on.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So, as I said, I was really good at self-sabotaging absolutely everything. You said to me once, walking down the street, you just need to let go. And I was like, I just need to let go. And all that stuff that had weighted down on me, I was like, I'm done.
Amazing.
And it was literally a flick of a moment in time, a passing comment.
So where people say, oh, I can't really change, it's going to take a lifetime.
Anyone can.
In an instant. That's beautiful, isn't it?
It's powerful, but it's really learning to control that mindset. When something negative happens, what's the lesson? What do I need to learn? You learn it, you move on. It's controlling that mind. But
you've got to be open to listening.
Of course you have.
So you were listening then. At that moment in your life, you were listening. So
I think I was so ready for change. I was so hungry for change, but I didn't know how to pull it all together. Yeah. So, and that is, difficult in itself, but I was ready to do it. There was always something in me that felt like, when you see advisors and they're super successful, it was kind of like, well, I've got great client relationships, I've got great outcomes, I do the right thing, so why am I not succeeding like that person was? And it was that self-sabotage mentality. So you have to be mindful of that. But, anyone is capable of change. You just have to have a bit of deep dive within yourself, a good hard talking to yourself in the mirror and decide what you want to do. You either do it or you don't.
You have influenced a lot of people in New Leaf, not just because of your success, but because of your attitude and your approach and your positivity. And you don't accept nonsense at all. That's if someone said what's Sam Challis all about, I'd say she won't accept any nonsense at all. It's direct success. So what would your message be to someone who's languishing, who's really struggling let's say they're in New Leaf and they're just not hitting the numbers, they're not doing what they could do?
Self-reflect.
Okay.
Because there isn't, again, and I'm not, just saying it about New Leaf. Within New Leaf, you have all the tools you need to succeed, whether that be a blueprint course, whether that be you phone Sam, Dan, whoever it may be. You are geared up to succeed because of the support structure that we have around us. You choose to engage with that or you don't. If you're not engaging with that and you're not hitting your numbers or you're not having the relationships that you have, it is your responsibility to look at yourself and say, what do I need to do differently? And you have to be out. I mean, honestly, Mark, the stuff that I've done that is outside of my comfort zone, I'm just, but you have to keep pushing yourself.
Tell me about that. Well, give me a couple of those things, like this maybe.
Yeah, this is, completely outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But again, the conversation, you've got to this point, Sam, you need to get an office or you need to get admin support. And I'm like, do I need an office? Okay, yeah, I do need an office because Mark's told me I need an office. So you push yourself constantly to, go through those barriers to be able to grow your business. And if you don't do that, you're going to stand still. Yeah. So I guess my fear now is if I don't keep pushing, am I going to stand still? And that frightens the life out of me.
What do you mean by that?
Because I don't want to, I just want to keep going.
You use a phrase, peddling.
Peddling fast.
Tell us what that means.
Just, the industry can consume you with lots of, admin or paperwork or things like that. But you just have to pedal fast. Something doesn't go your way. You don't give up. You don't stop. You just keep pedaling to the next thing. Everything in this industry is resolvable. You have to have really good internal relationships as well as great relationships with your clients. So my sort of business head would say that I sell myself to New Leaf every day by having great relationships with the support team around me. Okay. That is fundamental to succeeding.
You manage the manager, as it were. The people that are working for you, you manage them.
I try to the best. I'm not horrible with it by any stretch of the imagination.
You've got to do that.
But you do have to sort of,
you need to manage it.
Yeah, you do have to put yourself out there. But you do have to, push through those barriers, work outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll just stand still.
Yeah.
And if you're standing still, someone else is coming up. And not that saying that that's that competitive nature in me, but you just have to keep going. Pedal fast, put your big girl's pants on, as I would say.
Yeah, you do. You love it. But this influence on other people is really great. Vanessa and Linda and others have really come on because they see you do so well. There's a lot of women in New Leaf as well.
Yep.
There's almost 50% women. I think it's something like 43%.
It's phenomenal.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that the women are attracted to come into the New Leaf group?
The family vibe.
Okay.
It's in women's, and this is not because I'm not a sexist, men, women at all. It's in the DNA of New Leaf, that family culture, and women that have got children. Value that a lot. Yeah. The part of my biggest reason for setting up on my own was because I wanted to be my son's mum before anything else.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the scope and opportunity to do that within the current structure of the company that I was working for, because it was very much 9 till 5, and it just wasn't. Henry was in breakfast club, after school club. So when you come somewhere and it feels like family and you can pick up the phone to someone, that is a really massive draw.
Got it. Okay. And in terms of your goals and ambitions, I remember you on the blueprint and you set a goal. Can you tell us what that goal was and whether that's been achieved?
The office goal. We had to, so that for the purpose of this, we had to write our goals down on a whiteboard, I think it was.
That's right.
My goal at the time was to do 250 in income, get the office, and have admin support. And I think I'd done that I got the office and admin within about 2 months of walking out of that building. And then I think I hit the goal probably in the September before the December. So
there was also something special you said. You might not remember it.
No, I do remember it. I absolutely remember it. So one of the questions to us was, what is your why? Or,
Yeah.
And I said that the office had to be in Benfleet where I live because for my son, and every time we drive past that office, my son will say that's my mum's, and he does that.
Yeah.
So we call it the Alf office because he speaks German, so it's like the Alf office. But every time we drive past, he's like, and honestly, the pride that I have for that is just phenomenal.
My memory of it's slightly different. I think I romanticised it a bit. I thought it was. I just want to see my son walk past the window and wave at me. Sort
Yeah,
of thing. That's how I pictured what you said.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful, beautiful moment.
He now works in the business.
Oh, amazing.
Does a little bit of admin for me.
Bless him. You said you love what you do. A lot of advisors do what they do, but they don't
Wrong
love
attitude.
what they do.
Yeah.
And, do you remember Clive Walker, obviously?
Yep.
And Clive has passed, and bless him. He used to always say a phrase, our business. What we do in our business, like it was an ownership piece about you love financial services. What is it that you love about what you do so much?
So I don't believe I own any of my clients. They choose to work with me, and I put and invest time and energy into that for sure.
Okay.
But in terms of how I see, as I said, I think I mentioned it briefly before, for me, it's not about a pension or investment. It is about how I leave people and how I make them feel. So it's a huge privilege to go to someone's, sadly go to a client's funeral and be there for the family.
Wow.
It's also a huge privilege to go and sort of had a cuddle with a grandchild that's just been born. That part of the job you cannot put a price on because it is just phenomenal. So for me, it's not a product, it's not a business, it is my life. Wow. I invest my life into these clients. They're friends.
It's amazing. People talk about balance.
There's no balance.
Okay, so let's explore that. Quickly explore that, can we? What do you mean by that?
So I am all in.
Yep.
That's it. So if a client phones me on a Saturday, I'll answer my phone. If they phone me on a Sunday, I'll answer my phone. If they phone me when I'm on holiday, I'll answer my phone. I am all in. I'm invested in these people. I'm invested in what they give me such a privileged life. So I'm all in.
Amazing. And the future is interesting, isn't it? With AI and all the things, the automation, and a client could literally go on chat and look at, okay, let me do my HD planning. How do you feel that's going to be for you in the future in terms of that competition with tech?
So again, it will come back to if you're an advisor that is just about the product, i.e. a pension or an investment, you're probably a little bit more risk. I feel like I have great relationships. So it's about the feeling of how I make people feel. You're not going to get that from technology. Having said that, though, one of the biggest things that I do need to embrace, which I don't at all at the moment, is technology. Okay. So I recognise that's a quality that I really need to develop and nurture and bring to the table.
So enhancing your ability to communicate with clients using tech to be more efficient.
Yeah.
But I love your balance thing. I agree with you. It's all in, isn't it? It's all in or nothing, really.
Yeah. I'm not saying that's but I'm not the sort of person to be able to switch off. So I'm not saying it's the right thing for everybody because I recognise there should be boundaries at times.
Yeah.
But when I've looked after people for as long as I have, they become friends.
I'm going to take you back to your younger self to close.
Okay.
If you were to give your younger self a message, what would it be?
I would say, regardless of whatever happens in your life, you can let something define you, destroy you, or strengthen you. So always choose strengthen.
Oh, bless you. I love that. That's beautiful. And last question for you. This is a podcast about New Leaf and turning over a new leaf and all of this stuff. What would be the new leaf that you would like to turn over now and in the future?
Definitely to embrace technology. That is my one thing that I don't do, and that's the one thing I need to do better.
Sam, it's been a privilege to work with you over the last few years. I admire you greatly, and thank you for taking this time today.
Thank you.